Hello, guys. Happy Sunday. Good to see
Hello.
everybody. I just got off the live. It took me a second to switch over from boot camp kickoff to our Sunday Fitme family meeting. So thanks for being patient. I'm excited to be here. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Julie. There's Sarah, Kristen, Nicole, Lindsay. Welcome. Super excited for you to be on this call. We have a couple newbies who are here who are brand new, a part of Fitme this week. Paula's here. She is brand new. We've got a handful of brand newbies. So welcome, welcome. Hi, Nancy. There's Raquel and Rose. It's so good to see everybody. So welcome. There's Natika, Amanda. Awesome, guys. Well, we're going to dive right into it in just a moment. For our newbies, this call typically goes about 30 minutes. It's usually me talking for 15 minutes, and then we all talk. So it's a chance for us to talk to each other, help each other, ask questions, and talk about the topic of the week. So again, for newbies, if this is your first Sunday call, this is intended to give you something to think about and something to talk to your coach about. Now, you probably have action steps you're working on with your coach. You should every single week, but this Sunday call gives you something else to layer in there that should be helpful in your journey. And so before we dive right in, reminder that Nutrition Bootcamp is going on this week in the Facebook group. It should be really fun. It's for the next 10 days. And so if this is helpful for you, do it. If it's not helpful, don't worry about it. Just focus on what you're working on with your coach. It's really designed to be something to build community, to give value to people who are just like, hey, what's Fitme about? And also be fun. So if it's fun and adds value for you, jump in. If not, focus on what you're working on with your coach and don't stress about it. If you have somebody you know that would enjoy it and be a part of it, send it to them. Because that's what it's for. It's designed for people who are like, what is this? I need something different. I'm sick of all the BS. That's what it's for, to introduce them into some of like the Fitme style nutrition changes. And I think that's the only announcement. So let's just dive right in. Tonight's topic is ownership. We've talked for a couple of weeks about different things regarding making some very practical changes, movement, what that means, exercise, all that good stuff. We've talked about nutrition changes and food journals and all those good kind of things and when we would use them. But here's the thing. We can talk about every single thing related to nutrition, exercise, mindset. I can teach you everything under the sun and it will not matter. Not at all. Unless you own your journey, your goal, and your life. Now, here's the thing. We all got here because we want a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. We want to feed our bodies so that we can take care of ourselves and feel our best, be at a healthy body weight, feel strong, have energy, do the things we want to do. We want to challenge our bodies. So we want to be strong. We want to be able to do things. I mean, most of you have told me that I want to do things with my body. I don't want to feel like I'm stuck or that I can't. And we also want to move our body. We know that if we just sit around all day, and a lot of us have jobs that require sitting, we don't feel very good. So we know we have to be intentional about moving. And so when we fuel our body and feed ourselves, we challenge our body with exercise, we move our body, we're doing those three things, we're going to start to see changes. But I can tell you all day long until I'm blue in the face. Your coach can tell you all day long, and you can know it. You can 100% know what to do and not do it if you don't feel like you have ownership over your goal and the steps that it's going to take to get there. Now, ownership doesn't mean guilt. So let's start by saying that, we all got to this place where we want these things, but we got here in different ways. Some people dieted for decades. Some people had dieting put on them. Some people had life circumstances that kind of just threw curveballs, sort of led them to a place where they're like, I don't feel good anymore. Some people had health things that threw them sideways. They ended up in a place where they don't feel good anymore. Some people just did life prioritizing everybody else, everyone and everything else. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I forgot to take care of myself for the past 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. There's a whole bunch of reasons that we can say, well, that's how I got here. It's kind of that fault, or those are the circumstances that led me here. Whatever those are, They matter because they inform how you move forward, but they don't matter in that you have to decide you're going to move forward no matter what. And one of the things that I think is hard is we can't passively make change. And I talked about this on a podcast episode recently where I said there's a difference between saying I'm going to do simple, doable things where I'm going to commit to making a change. And it doesn't have to be this giant sweeping thing where every single thing you eat, you're weighing and measuring. Every single thing that you used to eat, you throw out the window, or I'm going to exercise 3 times a day kind of commitments. That doesn't work, right? That's not sustainable. But even simple, doable changes, something as simple as I'm going to prioritize eating vegetables on my plate. That sounds pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but it's not necessarily easy, right? Because if you haven't been eating vegetables, you've got some steps to do to learn to eat vegetables. You might have to learn how to cook them so they taste good. You might have to learn how to prep them, to buy them. You might have to actually get used to eating them. Natika and I joked about this before, but like when she started with Fitme, she was very open about it. She said she didn't really eat vegetables. And over her past 2 years with Fitme, she's eaten more and more vegetables. And that's one of the big wins that she shared, is that now she and her family eat these vegetables and they cook them and they like them. So that is an example of maybe you didn't grow up eating vegetables. That's not your fault. Maybe nobody fed you any.
Yeah, I'm on
But
mute.
now you have to do something about it. If you know that you need that in order to move forward, you are going to proactively have to learn. Nobody can teach you. You can ask your coach. They can give you help. They can give you ideas. They can give you direction, but you're going to have to go to the store. You're going to have to buy the stuff or order it on Instacart. You're going to have to try it and let it be sucky the first time, potentially. And then you're going to have to try again and keep introducing it if you want to do that one simple change of eating more vegetable. So you see how knowledge isn't going to solve the problem. And even having a coach and having all of us isn't going to solve the problem for you if you don't own it, that you actually want to make those changes, that you're like, I know I need, and that's, I'm just using vegetables as an example. I know I need more vegetables in order to feel my best. I have to own this and try. I have to do something and not just think about it. One of the best things about being in Fitme is one of our core values is realness, which means this is not the place you're going to be judged. If you're like, I have never, again, we're just using vegetables as an example. I've never eaten vegetables in my life. Guess what? This is a no mean girl zone. Nobody's going to judge you for that. In fact, your coach are going to help you, but also other people inside Fitme who might have cooking as a skill set. They came to the table, literal, pun intended. They came to the table with that skill set. They can help you. Other Fitme clients. So here, we're not judging you for that. But if you don't share it and you don't own it and you don't actually take action, nothing's going to change. You're going to be thinking about the fact that you should be eating vegetables for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months. Now you could take that vegetable example and insert the things that you need to be doing. Is that walking? And you're like, I just never had time to walk. Well, I get it. Maybe your job makes things tricky. Those are all circumstances. But now you have to own it. This is your journey. This is what you want. So if you want to start walking, we got to figure out how. And maybe you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to squeeze in some walking in my day. Cool. That's what we're here for. That's what your coach is here for. That's what we can help you figure out, like how you're going to get in more movement throughout your day. Maybe strength training is brand new to you. And again, whether or not that's your fault, that it's brand new, or whether or not you had an injury or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're here now. We know as women, we have to do strength training. We got to. Sorry, just the truth. We have to build muscle. We have to build bone density or we lose it. If you don't build it, you're losing it. And so we have to do some version of strength training. But if you're brand new to it, that's okay. We're going to help you start to do strength training, but nobody can do it for you. I can't open up your app and pick up your body and do the things. I wish I could. You know how many people told me recently that they wish that I could fly to their house and just follow them around all day and take things out of their hand that they're eating? I'm like, that sounds really cool, but also a little weird. Like, I can't do that for you. You're going to have to do it for yourself. If you want to imagine me in your head, that's fine. but I can't do it for you. You have to decide that you're going to do this for yourself. And some of you are brand new to Fitme. Some of you have been in for 3 or 4 or 5 months. Some of you guys have been in for a couple of years, and consider this your kick in the pants with absolutely no judgment. Your kick in the pants is that this is 100% your journey. At the end of the day, when your time with Fitme has concluded, whether that's in a year, whether that's in 2 years, whether that's you become a Fitme community leader, it's multiple years. At the end of it, it will be just you. And you will have to own that too. And so I'm saying this from a place of love and a place of support and wanting to help you maximize this time and give you as many skills, tools, support, accountability, structure. Everybody's different in that category. Some people love all the structure. Some people are like, I just want to be pointed in the right direction and then check on me in a week. Everybody's different, which is why we customize this for you, but it still has to be you. If your coach is checking on you and you haven't reached out to your coach, that's backwards. I want you to think I'm reaching out to my coach and I'm going to tell them what I need help with. This is what I'm working on. Or if you don't know, that's fine. Reach out to your coach and be like, I have no idea what I should work on this week to move towards my goals. But it's still you initiating. And if your coach hasn't heard from you because life went sideways, of course they're going to reach out. But as a general rule, I want you to think about that you are in the driver's seat of this journey. And when you feel that, what becomes really great is all of the kind of like baggage that led us to here, whatever that is, we can start to let that go. Because when we are in the driver's seat and we're taking action, we're empowered, we're advocating for ourselves, we're learning the skill set to do this forever. Because when you can ask for help, that's something that you need. You need to be able to ask for help. When you're not sure what something is and you can find the answer, then you're building that skill set. When you're taking action rather than just thinking about it, you are moving forward. Those are skill sets. Those aren't character traits. Use this time to start to practice that. And it was funny because on the boot camp kickoff call that I was just on, I was telling everybody, I was like, listen, 250 something people signed up for boot camp. But here's the thing. I don't know how many people actually complete it. Even 10 days, as doable as boot camp is, and I made it super doable, 30%. I'm calling 30%. Best case scenario, finish it. Because we don't own it. We just say we're going to do something, but we don't really mean it. And so I said to everybody on the call, I'm like, this is up to you to do over the next 10 days. You even get some mulligan days. You get like days that if it didn't work out, you have the chance to make up for it the next day because you have 14 days to complete it. But I dare you to complete all 10 days. But the thing is, and then so people started chiming in. And I thought this was really cool. They were like, start to set reminders in your phone. Some people were putting in the comments, set reminders in your phone, print the thing, put it out here. Do anything that you need to do to put yourself in that driver's seat, to like not let yourself get distracted and forget why you're doing this in the first place. Over the past couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of different people. Some of you who are on this call who are intent on making changes, who are fed up and ready to make changes. And every single person that I've ever talked to, and you probably all have experienced this with me, I've asked you why. Like, why do you care? Why are you going to do any of this? Why not stay exactly the same as you are? Why not do that? And I make you tell me. And there are really real, compelling reasons that matter in your life of why you want to make these changes. But soon as we get out of that like headspace where we're thinking about that why, and we get back to the grind of work, of kids, of juggle, of bills, of whatever it is, we forget that why. And then we forget that this is important to us. And we forget that we're in the driver's seat. And so remember, if you are forgotten what your why is, revisit that. If it's been a minute, why make any of these changes at all? You can stay exactly the same. You don't have to do any of this. At the end of the day, we love you, but this is not our journey. This is your journey. And so if you stay exactly the same, we're still going to love you. But it's costing you something, right? Something important. And so if it's costing you something, then that's the reason to proactively move through each week and start to make changes. And so I think I'm done off my soapbox. I knew today was going to be one of those calls where I was going to give it to you, but that's the deal. Like, that's the coach, that's what you're here for. And so ownership is the takeaway. And so your action step for the week is one of two things. If you have been more passive and you've been hoping that someone else is going to drive this train for you, I want you to recommit to driving your own train and tell your coach that I've been too passive. I've been sort of letting you kind of push me, and it's time for me to push myself. And here's my new approach, whether that's I'm going to reach out to you, whether that's maybe some people want to write it out like a month of things like, hey, I'm committed to one thing each week. And again, that's being proactive. That's saying, here, coach, this is what I want you to hold me accountable to. So whatever it is, if that's the shift that you need to make, that's your action step. If you are brand new and this is potentially your first week in Fitme, you might not have even had your map your year call yet. You might have just had your first coaching call. Make sure that you and your coach both know what your why is. It's fresh in your mind. You just told me within the past week or two. So make sure your coach knows too. Share it with her and let her know why this is important to you. And if you've been in Fitme for a long time and you feel like you've been proactive, but maybe you've forgotten that why, then I want you to revisit that and decide and remember why you wanted to make these changes in the first place. And that's going to help. And if you need to, write it down and stick it somewhere so you can remember. So that's it. I want to kind of give you guys a chance to talk about this topic for the next 10 minutes. Let me know if you have questions, if you have thoughts, if this was helpful. What do we got? You can either raise your hand or unmute yourself, and I'll unmute you. One of the two. Everybody's stunned into silence. There's Paige.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone's so quiet, but this is a good one, Christy. Ownership is tough. Oftentimes, I know you and I have had lots of conversations with this, and sometimes you start out really strong, and like you said, right, 10 days, for this nutrition boot camp, and all of a sudden you find yourself not too far along, and you feel like you've ventured off. And so I don't know, I just think kind of owning that when you venture off, you got to steer yourself back on, or at least reach out to your coach, right, and drop a message to say, I need to, I don't know, check in with you, or, hey, I have this challenge when I do this and I need help kind of getting back on track. What suggestions do you have? I don't know. I think owning it is the first part of the battle, and then taking action. I don't know. I don't have a question or anything. I think it's kind of one of those self-talks you have with yourself to kind of kick your own butt back into gear, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good point, Paige. Just because we all commit right now to like, oh, I know why I'm doing this and I'm committed to the driver's seat, doesn't mean you're not going to fall off. In fact, you probably will. So you should go ahead and just accept that that's going to be part of this for every single one of us. We're all going to go sideways. And again, ownership is removing some of that guilt associated with that and saying, I'm getting back on and I'm going to reach out. I said, like, for example, maybe you are like, yeah, I hear you, Christy, and you set intentions for the week, and maybe a couple weeks they're going great. And then week 3, you set your intentions, you send them to your coach. You're like, this is what I'm working on. This is what I need help with. And you do none of them. And you don't want to show up to check in with your coach the following week because you didn't do it. Well, ownership means you show up anyway. And you're like, I didn't do it. This is what happened. And here's, where I'm at. And I don't even know how to get back to it because this next week looks just as stupid. That's ownership. And then from there, you can make a game plan, and you're going to be back on faster than if you just go MIA and feel frustrated with yourself. And then your coach has to hunt you down, right? Because then that's not ownership. It doesn't mean you have to feel bad about it. It doesn't mean you have to feel guilty or be crappy to yourself. It's just saying, didn't go the way I planned or hoped. And here's what I'm going to do next. Rachel, I like the hand raise. That's new.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I raised my hand because I feel like you were talking straight at me and that Molly told you to say all this because it's me. Um, I moved and I needed to take the time. It was a lot. And my gym wasn't put together and there was a lot going on. And I'm realizing as you're talking that I think that a win is that I felt really confident that I could pick it back up again. I know what things I need to do. I have done it before. I know how to get started. I know how to kind of start back again on my workouts in a more consistent way. You know, I know how to do all those things. And so I think I let myself sleep on it for a little longer than maybe I needed to for the move. But my gym is put back together and I am washing vegetables as we speak.
Love it.
And it's time.
I think that is a good win, that you have the confidence that as soon as you do kick it to gear, you know what to do. That's a huge win. But I'm glad that it hit for you, Rachel. I'm glad it was like a timely talk because again, you had real life, you were moving. I think, everybody has different flavors of real life and moving's a hard one. But at the end of the day, still up to you.
Yep.
So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. Sarah.
I was just going to say, kind of to people who are newer, when you have those times that things fall apart and you feel like you don't want to reach out to your coach because maybe you're the type of person who likes everything to be perfect and done. I'm just spitballing here. Just remember that that's not what this space is, that this space is a space that you're going to be welcomed. And it's going to be more of like, how can we help you maintain that ownership? And how can we help you, be resilient? So just a reminder that this is a safe space and a space that is always here and always welcoming.
Mm-hmm. It's a good reminder, Sarah. Thank you. Other thoughts, guys?
Yeah, hi. Also, that it's not like coaches go through this too. Like I just been going through this thing, like just I do like what I like. I'm on this elimination diet right now because I have poor gut health. And it's like I have to eliminate these foods to see if like it's this bacteria in my gut or if it's food, whatever, right? And I've been like, I go gung-ho for 2 weeks and then I kind of fuck it, don't care. And so I'm like doing this thing. And so I'm just been talking to myself lately, like, Leah, you've got to, this is up to you. You got to like buckle down and figure out a way to do this so that it works for you. And so I just want to remind people that like, even coaches go through this. Like it's not about coming here and like learning some perfection method. It's literally about like trial and error, try again, like try until you're blue in the face. And then you'll, once in a while you like hit something and you're like, wow, this works for me. Great. I get to go try something else now. And so it's forever evolving. But it's the reaching out part that if you don't do that, if I don't do that, it's like, then we kind of go back into our ruts again. And that's just something I've been thinking about lately.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that, Leah, because it's so true. It doesn't change just because you're a coach. And the skill set of asking for help is what we're talking about. It's like we do struggle with that. And so if we learn to ask for help and don't let it go too long, then we can get back on. But it made me think, Leah, because I got to be your coach for a couple of years, it made me think that was even a really great example of ownership too, because if I was your coach and I was like, Leah, I want you to do this elimination diet because you told me X, Y, and Z gut health, this is what you need to do. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then all day long you walk around and be like, Christy says, I can't have this. Christy says, I can't have that. I can't have this because I'm doing this diet. I mean, like, because we all do that. I mean, it's kind of like, it's not a bad thing. We just kind of default to that. Somebody else is putting this restriction on us. And so we're going to suffer through it and do the thing, which is the opposite of ownership. It's like, this is my gut. It has a problem. I got help. I have accountability. And I am choosing these boundaries. And so one of the very first things we talk about in Fitme is that we want boundaries, not restrictions, because a boundary is you choosing it. A restriction is me putting it on you and saying, oh, you can't have that. But if it's a boundary, then you've said, I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing not to allow this in my life because of this important reason. And so it can be fun sometimes, I guess, in a silly way to have a coach tell you what to do and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. And that's a little bit fun and silly. But if it goes too far, then you're not owning it and you're not going to stick to it, because it's just a matter of time before we cheat or we break the rules or we, all of that stuff. And we don't want to practice that. So that's such a good example, Leah. Of it's your gut. Nobody cares if your gut gets better. I mean, I love you, but it's your guts that have to get better. And so that's a good reason to ask for help when you fall off, because you might. Anybody else before we wrap up? I want to take a picture. If you can turn on your face real quick.
Another thing, Christy, that I would
Yeah.
just add. I loved what this whole topic is about. I love what Leah said also. And I would just say, all of us have done it where we might have maybe gone a little AWOL with our coach and didn't check in for a week because, oh crap, I ate macaroni and cheese last night and I don't want to tell her what I ate, or I snacked on candy. Again, it's real life. We're all going to do those things. And so as a coach myself, and as well as a client with a coach, because I also have a coach, I'm just going to encourage everyone to really take ownership of your relationship with your coach and check in with them even when you have a bad day. It's even more important when you have a bad day, so we can talk through some of those things and help kind of, I'll just say, plan and navigate for the next time, maybe when you're feeling that way or you want or have a choice to make, that maybe you could make a better choice the next time. So I'm just going to ask you to lean in to your coach and own that relationship too.
I love it. All right, guys, if you can turn your face on real quick. I love seeing all the new faces, guys. So welcome again. If this is your very first Sunday call, so glad that you're here. If you haven't been here in a minute and you're here now, it is wonderful to see your face. So thanks for taking the time to do this live. I always think it's a great way to start your week and kick it into gear. And you guys are already owning your week. So real quick pick. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Rocky got in the picture. He literally came for the picture. All right, guys, have a phenomenal week. If you need anything, just reach out, and look forward to talking to y'all later. Bye.